We are in Detroit, Michigan.
Detroit, Michigan.
The Song of Ontario finally has exited Ontario.
Yeah, I mean, borders are kind of stupid, so we decided to cross one legally. And we're going to visit a urban farm project. So we're here, we're meeting with the manager, and we're going to see some cool stuff today.
And welcome to the Michigan Urban Farming Initiative. A little bit of background information on me is that I was born and raised in the city of Detroit, 5 miles from here. I went to Michigan State University. I studied in the College of Agriculture and I got my degree in food science. I double minored in environmental and sustainability studies and then brewing and distilling. And then post-college, I joined the Peace Corps and I was in this rural village in Nepal focusing on nutrition-sensitive agriculture. So I was just teaching them new or improved agricultural techniques. And then post that, I came back to Michigan. I got a job as an organic chemist in cannabis for a cannabis company, and I didn't really like the lab life, so I got this job, and this is where we are now. So a little bit about this place is that it was founded in 2011, so 8 years ago, by a guy named Tyson Gersh. He noticed that there were two challenges that Detroit were facing. I mean, there's tons of challenges, but these were things that he could do something about. One was the vacant land issue. So there's a lot of vacant land around Detroit, abandoned houses, things like that. And then the second one is the food insecurity issue. So you might have heard of Detroit being called a food desert. So people don't have access or availability or the means to get nutritious foods all year round. So we try to tackle those challenges. How we do that is we have this urban farm here. So we have 3 acres of land in total. The farmland that you can see right now is 1 acre. And on this farm, we have 300 different varieties of produce growing. And since 2011, we've given out over 100,000 pounds of produce to over 2,000 households in a 2.5 mile square radius. So we've given out a lot, and every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., that's when we give out the produce, and it's all free. So anyone from the Detroit city or area can come into our farm and pick up the produce right here. The other things that we have on the overall 3 acres are a bunch of different projects in various stages of development. So the first project that I'll tell you about is this resource center right here, the building with the great mural on it. It's currently undergoing some construction renovations. But when it's finished, the top floor will be for our administrative things. And we're also hoping to lease out that space to other organizations that do work along the lines of what we do here. The second floor will be our multi-purpose floor. And so we're hoping that the community can go in there and have their neighborhood meetings, that we can do trainings, workshops. We want to have like an educational component to that floor where we teach people about nutrition, sustainability, composting, agricultural things. And then the bottom floor will be our kitchen. So we'll be doing like packaging and processing of some of our produce. We want to turn it into added value products. Maybe the basil into pesto, or the tomatoes into tomato sauce, the hot peppers into a hot sauce. So that's our goal, I guess, with that community center. The next thing is this shipping container right here. It was given to us by General Motors, and we're turning that into a shipping container house. So it'll have 2 bedrooms, a bathroom, and a kitchen inside of it. The second thing that I'll talk to you about is this cistern. I'm gonna just take you over there. So a cistern essentially collects rainwater or like melted snow, and it takes it down to the bottom, it collects it, and then we use that water to water all the plants out on the field. So it's like our irrigation, works with our irrigation. And this was an old house, a dilapidated house that was torn down. We cleared out the basement, we lined it with a pool liner, we put like plastic crates in there to create spacing. We covered it with like clay and sand and other rocky stuff that you can see here. So while it's not enough to supply the entire year for water, it definitely helps offset the amount of water that we use on a regular year. So we save some money, and we use less water that way. But it is very convenient when we do run out of water, because then I can just stick the hose into the cistern and it'll still water everything out there, because it would take forever for me to take the hose from bed to bed and water everything. So it's still pretty convenient even when there isn't water in there. We get interns and volunteers from all over the world. It's an unpaid internship. And what we would like to do is house them, since we don't really have any funds to pay them. We would like to house them and possibly feed them some of the produce off the farm. This is also currently under construction renovations. But we're really hoping that we can get this going soon so we can, I don't know, have a place for them to stay. Speaking of the volunteers, we've had 10,000 volunteers since 2011, give us over 100,000 hours of service. French volunteers, a couple of weeks ago we had 120 Swedish volunteers, and it's become quite the international tour site. So that's pretty awesome, and the greatest part about it is that people just reach out to us. They just want to come and put their hands in the soil and like help out Detroit, which is pretty awesome and makes my job a lot easier when they do that. And so before I came along, this organization was a 100% volunteer run organization, and then I became the first paid employee that they've had. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The next project that I want to show you is this right here. This is a compost toilet. So we're hoping to turn human waste into compost. Most of our funding comes from sponsors. We do fundraising, donations, and grants. And so a lot of the different projects that I pointed out to you had a bunch of different sponsors. You know, General Motors, Mercedes-Benz, Target, Garnier, TerraCycle. All of these places sponsored a lot of different things that have occurred on here. But the donations and the grants are also a really big help. This area right here is our children's sensory garden, and this is probably my favorite place in the entire farm because it invites children to come and check out nature. There's no better way for kids to learn about nature or plants than through things that they can sense. So we've got tons of flowers that you can feel, touch, smell, and see. We've got berries like huckleberry, blackberry, blueberry, raspberry, strawberries right there. We've got grapes in the back. We've got 2 beehives that were given to us by an organization called Bees in the D. So that organization gives us the bees do their thing, and then they come back and harvest the honey and sell it at the Easter market. And then we have our fruit tree orchard, and this fruit tree orchard was actually given to us by Mercedes-Benz. So there are 200 fruit trees in there, 5 fruits, apple, pear, plum, peach, and cherry. And it's a high density fruit tree orchard, which is why the spacing is so close.
So you give out the food on Saturdays. Do you have any system in place if you have extra food or people don't come and pick it up?
So normally we try to donate to local churches and have them take the excess produce. And almost every Saturday we've had someone come and get the produce. So we haven't had any issues just yet. But I'm trying to work on like a more consistent way of like getting rid of the excess produce, just so we don't ever run into that problem where we're like, oh, we have so much produce, what are we going to do with it? I don't want that to be an issue. So I'm working on something. I'm like talking to local churches, like food pantries, and trying to see if we can donate to them.
You have people coming from like all around the world to visit this farm, to see this farm. Have you heard stories or like witnessed things where they will actually take this model and try applying it in a different country or in a different city?
I know that when the Swedish group came, they were talking about how they wanted to start doing urban farms, and they were super interested in our model, which is one of the reasons why they came, so they could like then take it and put it to use over in Sweden. But I haven't seen anyone actually apply it yet. And we've had a bunch of French visitors who also plan on doing the same thing, like in Paris and other urban spots in France. But I haven't heard of anyone actually like doing it, just that they were interested in our model and they were hoping to do something like it.
Yeah, it's a really cool model, and as you said, it addresses like 2 issues at the same time. The whole like abandoned space, like repurposing that for something that then also solves a big community issue.
Yeah. And speaking of community, like that's a big thing for us. You know, we want to empower the community. We want to build a stronger sense of community here. And so we don't just do things on the farm. We'll also do like neighborhood cleanups. We'll try to tackle some of these overgrown alleyways. We'll have people picking up trash and just going around talking to people in the community. I've been to a couple of their block meetings, so I'm also like a definite visible face, like representative of the farm. And I talk to them about the things that they might need or how and ways we can help the community. The cleanups are the most popular because we get like 100 to 200 volunteers every week, and we can definitely just throw them on different tasks around the community, and they love that.
And just walking over here, you get those vibes of like community, and it's very vibrant and it feels thriving.
Yeah.
And like you're walking around other like streets, and it's just like a little bit like you can see some buildings that might look a little dilapidated
Yeah.
and run down, and then you get here and it seems like a thriving space.
Yeah.
There's like all these fresh plants. It's really cool. Like,
Good.
really a cool thing to witness. And like, I want to see more stuff like this in the cities that I visit. And
Well,
places like
fun fact about this, like these urban farms, I recently read an article that said that there are over 1,400 urban farms and gardens in Detroit. There's like one right down the street, like a mile away, and there's a couple over in that area as well. And so they seem to be like really popular spaces in Detroit. Like we're trying to become the city of urban farms and
Yeah.
gardens, you know, which is pretty awesome in my head, because it gives like city people a chance to get out into nature. And just like learn more about like these things.
Yeah.
Because when I was growing up in the city, I knew nothing about plants. I never even touched the dirt, you know, because I didn't want to get dirty.
Yeah.
But look at me now.
That's amazing.
And so yeah, I think it's great for people to learn how to like grow their own produce, learn about nutrition and ways to like sustain themselves in the city. Growing up here, I definitely experienced the food desert. I know firsthand about not having access or availability to any of these things, and I didn't really think anything of it as a kid. But as I got older, I realized that it's probably not that common in a lot of places, or maybe it shouldn't necessarily be like this. And that's what interested me in my field of study and in the path that I've taken, like with all of my career choices.
Yeah.
I think that this place holds a special spot in my heart because as someone from this city who's gone through like the food desert experience and all of the stuff around like not having access to any of that information, not having access to the produce. We don't learn about nutrition in Detroit public schools, or we didn't back when I was coming up. And so for a place like this to exist, to provide those resources and the produce for people to get, I don't know, it just like really touches my heart, and it's amazing that I can be a part of it. Because my education, like I said, was focused around this stuff, you know, and I didn't know how I was going to get into it when I got out of college. No one really knows how they're going to do anything after they get out of college. And so it's just like such a rare, unique, awesome opportunity that I've been given to come here and manage this place and meet the people that I've met and like touch the people, I don't know, and like this cool way. It's my city. It's now my organization, you know, like, well, not mine, I didn't find it, but like, you know, I'm a part of it. And so I feel like it's something to be proud of. It's something that I've worked a long time to get to. I'm finally here. And so now I'm excited to see what I can do for this place, what I can do for my city, how I can give back to a place that's given me so much. Yeah.
Awesome.